The day we have all been waiting for, NFL Draft Day, is finally here. The Bears have pick number 1 and pick number 9. In this video, I'll be talking about what the Bears potentially could be doing with those picks. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears draft discussion video, which I'll be doing throughout this draft season. The draft is today, so I'll be having reaction videos out for the Bears round 1 pick. Number 1 overall pick and number 9 overall pick. The second video might be out a little bit later because I won't be home during round 1 of the NFL draft. I'll actually be live streaming my reaction to the draft at a bar with a bunch of other Bears content creators, including Just Another Year Chicago. I'm sure some of you guys watch his channel, so we will be live streaming that reaction on his channel, probably on my channel too. We're not sure if the bar Wi-Fi is going to be able to handle streaming to 2 channels at once. So if it's not on my channel, definitely check out his channel. I'll link it down below, and we're going to be discussing our predictions, reacting to the picks, reacting to other picks, and just interacting with you guys too. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, if you still want to go to this event, I believe there's some tickets left. It's going to be at Rizzo's Bar and Inn it's right by Wrigley Field, I believe. So should be a fun time. Excited to see some of you guys there if you're going. But yeah, Ryan Poles has waited for this day for a long time, and he gets to pick his quarterback of the future at number 1 overall. I'm not going to be talking about the number 1 overall pick too much in this video because we know it's going to be Caleb, okay? It is 100% going to be Caleb Williams. Caleb has already been seen having dinner with Bears team leaders. He had dinner with Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, TJ Edwards, and some other players a couple weeks ago. He's been liking a lot of Bears posts on Twitter. He's been liking some of my posts too. You know, the hype videos I made for him, he liked those. So, you know, he knows he's coming to the Chicago Bears. It's been set in stone, especially since we traded Justin Fields. And it's going to be so damn exciting to see a quarterback drafted at number 1 overall come over to the Chicago Bears. Okay, we have never drafted a quarterback that high at number 1 overall, I believe. If I'm wrong about that, somebody correct me in the comment section, but at least after like the 1950s, I don't think we ever drafted a quarterback at number 1 overall, at least like in the modern era. But Caleb is going to be a Bear, man, and it's going to be cool to see him, you know, holding up that Bears jersey, whatever suit he's wearing. I think he said he's wearing a navy blue suit to the NFL draft, so, you know, obviously knows he's coming to the Chicago Bears. And I think he's also painting his left pinky nail, he said, to match his girlfriend's nail or whatever, which I don't care what you guys think about that stuff. If you guys think it's cringy, he paints his nails, like, who cares, okay? Like, we're worried about the football on the field. He can do whatever the hell he wants, you know, in his spare time. And if he wins the Bears a Super Bowl, I guarantee you, grown men in Chicago are also going to be painting their nails, okay? That's how desperate we are for a good quarterback in this city, right? So Caleb is going to be officially a Bear today, and I'm happy that it's finally going to happen, okay? We can finally all come together behind him. I think that most Bears fans already have, but the few Bears fans that are still somehow thinking the pick is not going to be Caleb, you guys are also going to be allowed to get back on the bandwagon, because at the end of the day, we're all Bears fans, okay? We should want what's best for the Chicago Bears, and I hope that Caleb has a long and successful career with the Chicago Bears. Now, talking about our next pick, the number 9 pick, I really have no idea what direction the Bears are going to go with this pick, okay? Usually I'm able to kind of guess. Like last year, I actually did predict the Bears to select Darnell Wright in the first round. So I was right on that, but like this year, they could go either direction. They could go offensive tackle at number 9. They could go receiver at number 9, which I feel like is the preferred option for, you know, many Bears fans. They could also go defensive line at number 9. They could select Byron Murphy. There's been a lot of buzz about Byron Murphy potentially being a pick for the Bears at number 9 overall. Now, if I had to rank my preferences from like highest to lowest, so highest would definitely be a receiver at number 9. If you're able to get a Rome Odunze, who I think should be available at number 9 unless something crazy happens. I've seen most mock drafts with having Rome Odunze available at pick number 9. You would go home extremely happy as a Bears fan because you would have created the best receiving core in the history of the Chicago Bears for your rookie quarterback. And not only for this year, but like Rome Odunze could be a Bear for 5, 6, 7, hopefully 10 plus years, because he does have that upside to be a true number 1 receiver in this league. So even after, you know, Keenan Allen leaves, even after DJ Moore eventually leaves, like Rome Odunze could still be on the team for a long time and build that chemistry with Caleb Williams, which they've already worked on building, okay? They were actually throwing to each other. Caleb was throwing balls to Rome Odunze recently, right before the NFL draft. So, like, the two already know each other. They both played in the Pac-12. Now the Big Ten, so those teams are in the Big Ten now. But like, yeah, back then it was the Pac-12. They played against each other a couple times, right? So it would be cool to build that, connection on the Chicago Bears. I think that Malik Neighbors also is a possibility. I don't think it's going to be available at pick number 9. You maybe would have to trade up for him if you really want him that bad, but he also has ridiculously high upside. In terms of, athletic upside, he's definitely a better athlete than Rome Odunze is, and better after the catch also than Rome Odunze is, but I'd be happy with either, okay? Either Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. You cannot go wrong with any of them. And obviously the one crown jewel that all of us Bears fans are hoping there's a tiny shot at is drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, we would have to trade up for that, okay? I don't think there's any chance he's going to be available at pick number 9, but I think there is a chance he could be available at pick number 5 if the Cardinals trade out of the number 4 spot, and if the Chargers also want to trade down, which I think they might want to based on all the reports. Okay, all the reports have them selecting an offensive lineman, and if they're going to select an offensive lineman, why not just trade back and get more picks to get the player you wanted at pick number 5 a little bit later? I think that's a possibility, right? So if the Bears do trade up to number 5 overall, I can also see a scenario in which Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Chicago Bear, as crazy as that sounds. And I don't even know what my reaction would be if that happened. Like, I would probably just like internally combust out of excitement, because to get the 2 best players available in the same draft would be just a franchise-changing draft, okay? That would change the Bears for 10, 15 plus years. Both of them potentially could be Hall of Famers, if their careers do pan out to their potential. So, would be really happy with any of the receivers. My second favorite option would probably be to go address defensive line. I know some fans want offensive line over defensive line, but guys, like, Braxton Jones is a pretty decent left tackle. I know we want elite top 5 level left tackle play, but he was pretty good for the vast majority of last season. Like, Bears fans heavily underrate Braxton Jones. So unless you get a Joe Alt, I think Joe Alt is the only guy, and maybe Olu Fashanu, that I would, be okay with drafting that high, because they would be definitive upgrades over Braxton Jones. I'm not so sure about the other guys being definitive upgrades over Braxton Jones on the left side, especially because some of these guys are right tackles. They were right tackles in college. Like, J.C. Latham would not make sense on the Bears, because where is he going to play? Right tackle? I mean, that's already Darnell Wright's spot. Maybe like right guard, but are you really going to draft a guard that high? I hope he doesn't, right? So obviously I'm not going to complain if the pick is O-line, because, building in the trenches is something you should always do. But my second preference, if we don't go receiver, would be to address the defensive line. So a guy like Byron Murphy, Laiatu Latu, Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, I would prefer to get these guys in a trade down, because I think they're very similar to each other in overall, ranking, where you could trade down to like 14, 15, pick up an extra 3rd round pick, maybe a 2nd round pick, and still get one of them. I think that would be the best scenario if you do go defensive line. But I've been seeing some Bears fans saying they would be mad if the Bears selected defensive line in the 1st round. Have you guys seen the defensive line depth we have right now? Okay, it's not great depth. We have decent starters, like we have Montez Sweat, Andrew Billings, Javon Dexter, DeMarcus Walker, but if one of these guys go down, especially like a guy like Montez Sweat, we are absolutely screwed at pass rusher. We don't have great backups, so it'd kind of be a repeat then of last year, where the defense probably is allowing a lot of points because we can't get pressure on the quarterback. So I'm not going to complain if the Bears want to pick up another pass rusher early, because it's harder to find pass rushers late in a draft than it is to find receivers late in a draft. You find receivers pretty frequently sometimes in the later rounds of a draft, but not so much with, defensive tackles and defensive ends, right? So I think my favorite guy out of all these defensive linemen is going to be Laiatu Latu. Even with the injury, I think he is by far the best defensive player from an, on the field production standpoint in college football. Now, projecting him to the next level might be a little bit hard, because you don't know if that injury is going to creep up again. Okay, he had a pretty bad neck injury, which can be pretty serious. So if the Bears, medical staff does not clear him, then obviously he's not going to be the pick. However much I may like him, he's not going to be the pick if the Bears don't think he can stay healthy. But, besides him, I am a fan of Byron Murphy. I know some people don't like him as much, but he had a lot of dominant reps at Texas, last year, and Johnny Newton as well, man. Johnny Newton from My Fighting Illini. Like, I'd be happy if he was a pick too, even though I've been seeing him go so late in mock drafts. I don't understand why that is, because he was a, game wrecker for the Illini the last couple seasons. So that would be my second preferred option, defensive line. And then my third preferred option, I talked about this already, would be like offensive line. So like, Olu Fashanu, some of the other guys available, like I'd still be okay with drafting them just because, Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham know a lot more offensive line than I do. Like, they're offensive line experts, so I would trust their judgment if they do really want to draft an offensive lineman that high. But beyond those three positions, like, I can't think of any other position the Bears could possibly be attacking in round one. Like, safety and cornerback make no sense at all. Obviously, we're not drafting a running back. Obviously, we're not drafting a linebacker. So it's going to be one of those three positions, okay? It's going to be receiver, defensive line, or offensive line. And honestly, guys, I'll be happy with whatever the Bears do, unless they reach heavily on a player or select a cornerback somehow. Like, I'm not going to complain about what the Bears do, because they're going to get better no matter what they do. We have to realize this as fans. Even though we may want a certain guy, I trust Ryan Poles a lot right now in his judgment with how he has rebuilt the Chicago Bears, where I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even if I don't agree with the pick he makes tonight. But I'm hoping for Rome Odunze, man, or Marvin Harrison Jr., or even Malik Neighbors. Like, one of those top three receiving options would be so fun to add to this team, and it would, I think, ensure a 4K yard passing season out of Caleb Williams. I don't want to jinx anything, but like, that's certainly possible if you build the best Bears receiving core of all time. Cannot wait for the NFL draft. I'll be reacting to it tonight. I'll also have a stream for day 2, even though we only have one pick on day 2 so far. Maybe we're able to get more if we trade back in round 1, but be on the lookout for those streams and all my reaction videos. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.